Sup, you fools? Matt, ESC United, your favorite Eurovision channel. Welcome to the ESC United Mattitude live stream where we talk about the Eurovision news of the week. And first of all, my apologies for number one, the delay in the stream. We had and still have some technical difficulties, just like the last time I did a multi-stream. And hopefully it won't be as too bad. I had to do my backup here. If the camera is a little choppy, please forgive us. I'm working on it as we speak. But I didn't want to start this live stream with the man of the hour joining me today, Mr. Roy. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing really well. Really excited to be back in a live stream again.
Okay, well, we're so glad to have you. I know you were supposed to be here a couple of weeks ago, I think, for the Junior Eurovision, and then I kicked you all out because you're super annoying, or basically my
Yeah,
system is super annoying and wouldn't allow it. And I have the system issues again today, so but hopefully they're a little bit more bearable. I had to switch to my backup plan, so all of my beautiful setups and graphics are gone. So instead, I will just kind of wing it. And everyone in the chat, please let us know if it gets too choppy. There will be some choppiness going on, but it's the best we can do for today. Once that this is all done, I will make sure to do I need to buy a new laptop? I don't know. But
Oof.
either way, what it is, let's not get hung up on it. So, I want to give a quick shout out, shout out to some people in the chat. There is Deep, there is Ray Mapper. Hello, everyone. Emmanuel Z, hi, and hi to everyone. And this is also the first time that we're having a live stream on a Friday, as some of you requested, and we'll kind of may take turns between Fridays and Saturdays, see how it works and what works better for people. But some people are not available on Fridays, and vice versa. So that is just what it is. But enough talking about stupid stuff. Let's talk about the stuff that really matters. Eurovision. And we got a
Yes.
few updates for you, and I usually would go first, but I'm going to put you on the spot here, Roy, since I have to bring up my stuff while I was trying to fix the system issues.
Ooh.
About the first topic, and I guess it's always to start out with the most important, not the most important, the current situation, what
Mm.
Eurovision is concerned, and we all still live in a COVID, and Eurovision may be affected by it. Give us some updates where we're at right now, Roy. What you have, and then we'll go from there.
Um, I mean, I live in the Netherlands, of course, so I follow the news. So now and then, I don't follow it every single day, but the COVID cases are doing okay, but it's not really decreasing enough. And we're going back to a worsened situation. And it sounds bad, but there is light at the end of the tunnel as well. They have announced that they will do some trial events with a bunch of comedians, and there will also be some musicians later on, where they will have a crowd in a venue where they will, hold a little event. The first one is going to happen in Utrecht. It is in a venue of 1,500 people, and there will be 500 attending. Now, that is already a major step. And what they will do is they'll split like both groups a bit, and they will have two different methods to see what would work best, what would be the least spreading for COVID. And they'll try to see if they can hold live events. And that's really exciting because maybe they'll find a solution so we can have an audience at Eurovision. And that would be amazing for everyone.
Yes, and now you mentioned that it's certainly not in the same scale of what we have at Eurovision, where we have like 10,000
No.
plus people. So there's usually like there's like one event, a specific artist. I even forgot the name of his name. Um,
Um, Guido
yeah,
Verheijen
so I assume he's
is
popular
this one. Yeah.
in.
He's like a comedian, and he usually does like the end of the year comedy thing that's in the Netherlands, and he's quite popular. And yeah, it's still at 500 in the beginning, and it's just a stepping stone to see what will happen. And you cannot all of a sudden just start off with a 10,000 people crowd and just see how it goes. You need to test things, and maybe they will get more people the longer they go. That maybe they'll do more tests as well, and maybe we'll get a Eurovision with as many people as possible, which we all hope.
Yes, and what we know is a vaccine is coming in the very near future.
Yeah.
Some countries have already started. I think in the Netherlands, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it starts early January. I remember there was like a date set.
Um, I don't know the specifics about it, but it should be the early months of the year at least where they'll start it. But it will be first available for medical personnel, and then it will be available for like the vulnerable people with either like lung diseases or older people, and then more the casual people that will be like the last group getting it. But they should start early in the year, and yeah, it's we all gotta wait and see how that pans out as well, because like not everybody is behind the vaccine, so but there is hope. There is hope.
There is hope. I know it was still a few months away, but the next 2 3 months are going to be super critical. As far
Yeah.
as like, where the vaccine goes out, how quickly we can get the herd immunity as they're talking about, and how many people will take it, and that there's so many factors coming to play. Some of them are within the Dutch's hands, others are not, because they can have the greatest rules in place, and then all the other countries traveling to the Netherlands don't take vaccines or don't have them readily available, whatever it may be. That could still be an issue. And then we technically could just have a completely Dutch crowd, I guess, at Eurovision. But that there are so many different factors. But I do think that from what we're seeing right now, there is I'm not, I always call myself a realist with a touch of optimism, but just looking at it, I do think there is a really good shot that we have at least a scenario two situation at Eurovision. Would you agree with that, Roy?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know. In like you said, scenario three and two are quite closely tied together, and it will just depend on, let's call a random country, maybe someone that's not participating. Montenegro is participating again, and they have a really bad COVID situation. Then it could still happen that they do it on their own location. But in the ideal situation, all of the delegations travel to the Netherlands, and I do think scenario two would be the most realistic. I think.
Yeah. And you're right. There could always be something completely unexpected that, a curveball that we didn't see, either for the better or for the worse. So
Mm-hmm.
everything, of course, is subject to change. Nothing here is for certain. Anyone in the chat has any opinions about this or any thoughts at ESC United in the chat is very much how we'd like to see it, so we can pick out what, if you have questions or comments in regards to this particular topic. Anything else about that? Yeah, in case you're wondering what it means, scenario two, some because the EBU and the broadcaster, the Dutch broadcaster, came up with a system. One is the ultimate, just like we're used to, kind of set up, full crowd, full everything, full events. Stage four is basically lockdown version where everyone stays home and they're just going to do kind of what they did at Junior Eurovision, where they had remote performances and all of that stuff. There will be virtually no one traveling to Rotterdam. Because the only thing that we would have at Rotterdam are probably the hosts on stage doing the thing,
Oh,
and
definitely.
maybe some
Yeah.
random acts that can do stuff, but no one
Mm-hmm.
from other countries would take the stage. So yeah, it's all just comes down to people, especially you Eurovision fans. I know there are a lot of people out there who say they may not want to take the vaccine, but you would help everyone to take it, so as many people as possible can go, and we can bring down the herd immunity. To bring down the herd immunity, that's the opposite. Bring up the
Yeah.
herd immunity and get, yeah.
Exactly.
So I don't advertise the opposite. First of all, thank you so much, Ray Mapper, for your super chat and for becoming a member at ESC United. If you want to support the channel, you can always go and click on membership here at YouTube and support the channel and our journeys and travels. It's much appreciated. Of course, we continue to provide this for free, but anyone who can chip in, much appreciated. For making my Friday 10 times better, thank you both, for Roy and Matt. Well, Roy, this is also a big shout out
I'll
to
take
you.
that.
I felt really bad for you. I mean, I felt bad for everyone, but especially for you because I think I announced it officially anyway. You were on the press team for Rotterdam last year, and
Yeah.
you were so stoked, like experiencing this for the very first time, and then it didn't happen, huh?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
you're ready for next
Yeah,
year?
I really hope like we go as much as possible to like an open Eurovision so we can have, I don't know. I just hope I can experience it this time as well. But only time will tell, and I'm not getting my hopes up too high, I guess.
Yeah.
Just like
I
A
know.
healthy dose.
Exactly. ESVL is saying, didn't they announce already that they follow the GA's 2020 style? No, they have not announced that yet. There were a few factors that they take into consideration. Correct me if I'm wrong, Roy, but what they were referring to was like what they're doing, regardless of the outcome, whether we're going to be in stage one or stage four of Eurovision, that every country will have to record their performance locally as well as a backup plan. So,
Yeah.
so in case I'm gonna use shits go down the drain. They will know that okay, at least we have these recordings, kind of like with VJC, and if we have to use that, so be it. But it doesn't mean that is for sure what's going to happen. Am I right?
Yeah, basically what they said is we've observed Junior Eurovision and what happened there closely, and we've learned our lessons from it ourselves as well. So, like you said, if all goes wrong, they at least have a backup plan and they know how to like do it and just kind of copy what they did in Junior. And just in general, they can just learn a couple of lessons. It's the first big event really in COVID times, and they can learn a lot from it. And I think they definitely did that. And I think that was mostly what they said. And I do know that Sietse Bakker, he tweeted about it, that they would make a decision on what scenario would happen like in the early months of the year. So there's definitely not been made a definite decision at all yet.
Yeah,
So
so don't get too worried about that one. And before we move
yeah.
on, this is a good opportunity because Pascal just said, I love your videos and your main channel as well, Roy. Why don't you plug your page then real quick?
Yeah, I started as well basically when lockdown happened, but really when the junior season started. To make my own little channel with the reaction videos. I'm gonna try to react to as many national selection songs as possible and give a bit of an analysis on the songs and my thoughts. And if you guys want to check that out and subscribe to it as well, it is Roy PM, and that would be lovely. It would make my day if you guys subscribe there as well.
So Roy PM is the name of your YouTube
Yes.
channel. I would usually put it up
Yeah.
since I had to switch to my emergency streaming software, which I think going forward will use as my main one because it's going to use working way well better. Um,
Mm.
Go ahead and check him out because we always want to support my
Yeah.
favorite peeps here. All right, so let's move on. So we're gonna probably every time we have a live stream, we're gonna have an update on COVID because that's just the environment that we live in right now. But that's what we have for right now. Let's move on to some other really cool news. And I don't think I've because when this whole COVID thing happened, a lot of stuff made caused me to be unavailable. So I never really had an opportunity to talk about the Eurovision movie, the story of
Mm.
Fire Saga. And before I'm going to more into the news, Roy, you've seen the movie, I would assume, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So
I seen it the second day or something it was out. It was an experience.
yeah. So what is your overall thoughts on the movie?
I thought, I don't know. I think a lot of people went in it that it would be more of an homage to Eurovision, but looking at it as just a movie that like has Eurovision as its theme, I think they did a really good job at getting the overall picture right, getting the overall hecticness right, and it's comedy kind of, so there will be things in there that will be over exaggerated, and I don't think it was a bad movie at all. It was an enjoyable watch for me.
Yeah.
I definitely had a jolly good time.
It was really funny because the first time I was probably watching it with my Eurovision snobby attitude. And then the second
Hmm.
time I let go of that. And once I let go of that, it was even more enjoyable because, we are like, we analyze it from the smallest tiny bit. And then if it's not completely accurate the way Eurovision works, you're kind of like, this doesn't make any sense because it could never happen in Eurovision because A, B, and C. Like, there is no jury vote giving the points in the semifinals. That makes zero sense that they have the spokespeople at the semi. And there's no way you can just change the rehearsals like that and the song that, you had always that, I was
Yeah.
like, and then the second time I just let go of it. I'm like, oh my God, this is actually really funny.
Yeah.
Some people, of course, like I like the homage that they had with all the Eurovision artists, and it
Hmm.
mostly speaks to the Eurovision fans. The average person will not understand that, which is fine. I think they needed that for us fans. I totally get
Yeah.
it. But other than that, I think they celebrate the contest. I found very little condescension there. So
Yeah, definitely.
I thought there was a fine balance between you know, celebrating the kinks that the contest has with, respecting its at its core, and I think they walked that line very well, in my opinion. Do you have like a?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I definitely think so. And you got to remember that a lot of people on Netflix will have seen the movie like on the main page and be like, "Oh, what is this? I've never heard of Eurovision," and then check it out, and it being a real music competition, and they may research on it and then find Eurovision as its own, and then be surprised how much better it was in the movie, and they already enjoy the movie. So
Yeah.
I think it could be a win-win situation, really, and maybe getting more people involved with it and to like the contest, and
Yeah.
that's always a great thing.
What were your personal favorite parts of the movie? And I'm going to tell mine first, so give you a second to think about it.
Um,
Oh, you don't need it. You're like,
I, I definitely have one moment that
go
just had me
ahead.
cackling
What is
for
your
at
favorite
least 18
moment?
seconds. I was really laughing when he traveled all the way back to Iceland and was standing there next to the elf thing, and then he was being killed by the man. Really, spoilers alert if you haven't seen the
Oh yeah.
movie,
Well,
but
you
I mean
said
it's out
spoiler
for a
after
long
the
time.
fact, but that's okay.
Yeah. So he's trying to be killed, and then one of the elves throws like a dagger in the back of the other guy, and there was such an unexpected moment where I was like, "What the hell is happening?" And I was just laughing out of unbelief, and I didn't know what was happening, and I don't know. I really enjoyed that moment.
Yeah. I don't know why the moment I laughed the most, it was that uncomfortable laugh, because you remember when they had just lost the national final and they all went on a boat trip and then it blew up and they all had this
Yeah.
awkward, it's so terrible. We're going to Europe. Oh no, it's terrible. They're all dead. And it's just like, oh my God, this is horrible. And I laughed so hard because it's a joy they get to go to Eurovision, but well, all these people just died. It's horrible. But I just couldn't, I laughed so hard at that moment. And sometimes I'm weird. I laugh at the random moments that no one else thinks that are that funny.
Yeah.
Demi Lovato, when she came back as the ghost, and she said,
Yeah.
um, "He's going to try to kill you." Dad, and he's like, "He's already dead. He tried that. You're a useless ghost."
Oh, I enjoyed that moment as
Yeah, I thought
well.
that was
And yeah,
so
just
funny.
just the little moments in between had me dead the most. That just catch you completely off guard. There was no need to add that moment that you just mentioned, but they added it, and it's just perfect because it isn't perfect. And I don't know, it's just some kind of humor you need to like. But yeah,
Yeah,
I liked it.
I liked it too. And of course, I saw a few times in the chat mentioned Yaya Ding Dong. Of course, everyone loves
Mhm.
Yaya Ding Dong. It's just so clever executed, and we get all the memes out of it. It's just one of those things. And it's funny because I'm like, oh, I totally can relate to that music because totally what my grandmother used to listen to. You know, it just, I'm sure
Yeah,
you, Roy, you're slightly familiar with that sound as well, that Yaya Ding Dong. But I
yeah.
think every European
Mhm.
is. Because I'm almost like Americans ask me about it. I'm like, no, it's a ridiculed version of the songs that they listen to. Maybe even not to a certain extent, but that music certainly exists in certain parts of Europe for sure.
Yeah,
So anyway, the reason why this long explanation is because we don't know for sure how, because Netflix doesn't release the numbers, but we do know it was a big success. I mean, it's nominated for a Grammy, potentially people
yeah.
are hoping even for Oscar for best score or best song. Husavik comes to mind.
Mm.
So, but we do know it was a lot of. I live in the United States, as you all know, and there was a lot of talk here. A lot of people loved Husavik, the song. People were singing it here. I'm like, oh my god, it's so cool.
Ah,
People love this song. So I got all giggly and nerdy about it. But it was a success, the movie. It was streamed so many times, and we don't know yet if it's going to have an impact on 21 as far as like viewership is concerned in the United States or interest.
mm.
But it certainly will not hurt its chances, to say the least. And money talks everywhere in Hollywood. So there are talks about a sequel, a sequel of Eurovision, and it's going to be another Eurovision Song Contest, whatever that means. I assume they're talking about another year, like a couple of years later. Whether or not Fire Saga comes back or another act will follow, that all remains to be seen. But the sources was we got this covered.com, and you're saying, okay, it's just one random website. What the heck do they know? So the point is, they have been right on many different locations. They have been right on the first movie and some other movies as well. As far as the leaks are concerned, nothing has been confirmed. So we got to put the disclaimer out there. But if we can believe the rumors that have been previously often accurate, there is a sequel in the works. And that would be, to us Eurovision fans, of course, super exciting. As far as cast is concerned, that remains to be seen. And I just want to throw out there, what do you think about a sequel, Roy?
I think it would be lovely, and they can do so many more things with it. It's just, I think this is kind of just an introduction. They told now a storyline about a young boy wanting to go to Eurovision, and Eurovision has a lot of different elements and a lot of different aspects, and they could take a different country, they can take a different light, they could take a different character, they can go so many different ways and just put it on the same umbrella, and maybe even have more than just a sequel if it does well. And yeah, we it's I think it's going to be great again if they do the same thing as they did with the first one. It could be good.
Yeah. And any questions about or comments about the movie sequel, at ES United in the chat. Make sure that we
Mm.
see it. I'm always nervous about any sequel because sequels often are just based on, okay, this is making money, so we're now creating a story and see what we can come up with. Sometimes it works, but
Mm.
oftentimes it doesn't. It's different like when you talk about Lord of the Rings, where there are already a preset number of movies, right? The books were already there, so they didn't have to come up with a random story to kind of fill the sequel. Here they have to, okay, let's start from scratch, write something, and think what worked the first time. Maybe we can recreate the magic, and that is always the thing. Can you recreate the magic from a movie that was quite popular? Not necessarily with the critics, it was like, yeah, up and down, but with the fans, it was
Hmm.
very well received. So that is always my biggest concern, but I'll say it on Twitter. I'll say it here again. I want like a Fast and Furious kind of situation. Give me 10 movies or more. I don't think why not. I just, of course, as Eurovision fans, getting that kind of exposure and actually having mainstream Hollywood take notice. Come on, that is pretty darn
That's
cool.
cool.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
all in favor of it. So people are saying, yeah, ESVL says rumors are that they are planning a part two of the movie. As we talked, I think you mentioned that before
Hmm.
we went into these details. Ray Mapper is saying, I wonder if it's still about Fire Saga or someone entirely new. What do you think, Roy?
I don't know. I think what would be the best is just like maybe have some hints here and there from the previous movie and not necessarily base it around it anymore, and just have more a new way to look at it and to. I think that would just work the best because I don't know. I think you just need to have a few hints to the previous movie and completely different and completely new and surprises again because it was so full of surprises and that's what made the movie good in my opinion. So if they repeat this story with the same band, then there is not much stretch in there. Maybe they already been to Eurovision, so going again is not very likely in real life as well. So yeah, I guess
Yeah,
make
I
something new.
yeah, I would agree with that. In that sense that I think that I mean, it is Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell isn't doesn't shy away from going back to making a sequel, so I can still see him in the movie.
Oh,
And
definitely.
but they may go a different route, saying rather than them going to Eurovision, there will be somebody else. There will be mentors or
Yeah,
something like that.
head of
I
delegation.
do expect the acts to return. Not all of them, of course, but I see a lot of it could be happening. But this is all just speculations because keep in mind, all of this is still in early production and work. So don't expect any sort of response to that just yet.
No.
But
Now,
it's fun to.
wait. Do you think that they will make an appearance at Eurovision, like the real Eurovision?
Oh, this year. I
Hmm.
mean, next year, you mean?
Yeah.
Uh, Good question. I never thought that would be cool. I don't know. I don't. I think they could. I don't think they would make a one during the actual live show. I can see what they did last time, recording parts during like the rehearsals and all of that.
Hmm. Yeah, no, but like
But other
as an interval act or something, maybe.
oh, no, I don't think that. I
Mm.
don't think that they would do that. I think, and I hate using that. I think they're a little bit too big for that. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? It's like unless they want to. The only way they would do that is for promotional purposes.
I mean,
That
in a
would be.
way, Will Ferrell made this out of love for the contest as well a bit. So I don't know, maybe he'd be up for it.
That's true. That's true. We'll see. Could be possible. I mean, but my gut feeling tells me no.
Hmm. Makes
My
sense.
gut feeling. Yeah. So that is very exciting, and more to come on that. Roy, what else? Let's talk a little bit about the songs, because as we all know, songs are being released slowly here and there, or not that slowly. It's really exciting. Of course, we already have Albania music. The national final will be shortly, actually. I think it's in a week or so. We're gonna have our
Yeah.
live streams and all of that, of course. So be excited. And we of course have Estonia song, but there's more. What else do we have, Roy?
Yeah, Israel is going back to the same artist as they had last year. Eden Allen is back, and they had a different format this time. They asked all sorts of songwriters to submit songs, and they will choose a bunch of them, and they have been chosen already. Previously, there were rumors that there were going to be 16 songs. It turned out there were only 9 of them, and then they will. I think there will be online voting, and people can choose which song they like the best and which song they don't, I guess. And the best ones will actually be performed by her. Now, the odd thing about this is that all of the songs are actually not performed by her currently. They're all listenable, but they're all demos sung by different artists. Like some of them are even sung by male artists, for example. And
Yes.
so they are out, all 9 of them, and I've had a listen to all of them. Uh, it's really difficult because for some it's kind of tough to picture her voice in them, and a lot of them also still sound very demo-ish. And there is a lot of work to do, I think, for it to be the real full-on song version. And I think they'll definitely do that as well, because you gotta jump with her into the booth and insert all of her vocals, and maybe then you find some more things that they can add to the song. And I think all of them still have that room for that as well. It's just a bit of an odd format, in my opinion. I don't know. It just doesn't seem super authentic, maybe, but who knows what will happen. And the songs are out if you guys want to. Probably a lot of the guys already listened to it already. But yeah, it's an interesting format, and I can't wait to see what makes it to the real show with Eden actually singing the songs.
Yeah. And those who follow the channel, they know that I already did
Ah,
a
right.
reaction video for it, and I did my favorites. I think there were 9 songs,
Yeah, correct,
right? So
correct.
like it feels like so long ago, but yes, 9 songs, and I do feel there is one in particular I think that stands out,
Same,
and
but I think we differ.
oh, we usually differ when it comes to
Yeah.
music. Do you want to spoil it or not yet?
Um, yeah, I don't mind.
Go ahead, spoil it. What is the song that stands out to you?
For me, the most complete song right now that could do possibly the best in Eurovision and it had the most appeal for me immediately was Coming Out.
Coming Out.
Yes.
Why is that? What is that? You just feel like it's melodically
It's
a lot more
melodically very
memorable?
strong. I think a lot of the others, when you really expected there to come something, it never really came, and it was kind of going back to the verses, and it kind of stayed in the semi bits. And I don't know, I was just grouping out the Coming Out, and with the other ones, I had disappointments for every single one of them in every song, if it was lyrically or production wise, or it just didn't fully make sense with Eden, or it just didn't make fully sense. The choices they made from going back to the verses, or not having a drop, or not having as outstanding in your face musical elements. And Coming Out was just the most ready piece, in my opinion. But I mean, I knew we would differ on this.
Yeah. Now, yeah, I definitely, and those who've seen my video, I definitely said, I think I said in the video, I don't remember, that it is very dangerous. Not dangerous sounds very dramatic, but certainly it's always a big question mark putting demo versions that are not performed by the singer up for a vote
Yeah.
with the regular people, because not a lot of us here, we analyze it. We think about, okay, how would it sound with a full orchestra and with a real singer, and that could be something that not a lot of people will take into consideration if they just vote randomly for those. One example is there's only one demo. There's one demo that has a male vocalist, as you pointed out, and maybe that by default gets a lot more votes just for the fact it's the only male singer in there. So there could be so many different factors that could be a little bit misleading. So I'm a little worried having these beyond very incomplete
Yeah.
efforts put up for a vote, because that could be a little confusing. Um, I I loved the selection. Only 4 songs, but I was digging 3 of the songs last year. 3 out of 4. That's a pretty good rate.
Hmm.
This year, it was again, the song can get revamps and maybe can change a lot. That's why it's so dangerous to vote on them. I had a hard time picturing Eden Alain performing them. They were not, it feels as they were not written with the singer in mind, or
Yeah.
maybe they were, but it's just, they missed the mark on some of them. And I that's what Eden was really good for, bringing that local ethnic flavor in it and
Hmm.
have it a fun, catchy melody. And I know you're not more than just one style. I get that she can sing ballads as well and all of that stuff. But I think for Eurovision and purposes, you have to kind of find your place, what
Yeah.
works well. That could win over more than just the average person, or like at least more than just a few people, I should say.
Hmm.
And I do think that Shoulders to me just has the most mass appeal and has the potential to have the Eden flavor added,
Yeah.
because that is what I'm looking for her. I'm not saying she has to completely rinse and repeat what she did in 2020, but it worked. It was quite popular, her song, and I do think it would have been such a standout song just based on its style, on its
Mm.
own merit, and that is what I'm missing in most of these songs. And I think, considering a complete revamp, I think Shoulders is the one that probably would have the best chances at Eurovision. I think would be the best one
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah, I
I'm not
think
sure
that
people.
that is
Go ahead.
actually a good option. It was in my top three of songs I could see her perform, but there was just still a lot missing, and it just missed that final oomph that would want to make me vote for it or really stand behind the song, and just that final bit of flavor maybe as well. And I don't know, there was just something missing in that song for me. But it was definitely one of the stronger ones for her, and it is also still like my choice definitely isn't as ethnical as her last song was, but yeah, I totally get that you would choose for Shoulders.
Yeah, and it's not always very fair on my end to always compare it to last year, because most people would have never heard the original
Yeah.
song. So it doesn't really matter in that sense. I get that. So she wants to just, this is a new start for her, and that is fine. I just know from my feeling like this would have been it's just a really good option, Fika Libi. And I don't know if Shoulders will be in the same kind of category. We shall see. I know a lot of people also liked Ooh La La, which I think I put in my second place because
Mm.
those songs just stand out a whole lot. I find the French a little random in there, but because Israel's known to put some Hebrew lyrics in there.
Yeah. Yeah,
So that
I
always
wasn't
throws
the
me off.
biggest fan of that one, but it's mostly because of the lyrics, I think. I don't know. Some of the
No,
lyrics
I
were a
had some
bit
issues as well.
cringy and a bit like rhyming for the sake of rhyming, and I don't know. Like the Ooh La La song, it had like on the beat that at that moment I was like, okay, so let the beat speak for a bit, and they decided to use like the bad, and they just started to work on my nerves a bit. But I mean, they can revamp that out or make it better, or I don't know. It's tough to
Yeah,
judge these their demos.
it's tough, and I would agree also with everything that you said, like the issues I have with the song. I was just not very impressed with the lineup to begin with.
Mhm.
So this song, out of all, kind of stood out to me more than some of the others. So that alone, it's not the biggest compliment to say it's better than I dislike it less kind of thing. But
Yeah.
it's not that I dislike the song. I really don't. I just feel, and that's what I always trying to be very clear when I criticize a song. It's not just because it's bad or anything.
No.
You need to. I'm not saying you have to write a song that will work at Eurovision, but you need to find the song that works with you and your style and is a standout song. Just like when you put forward an album,
Mhm.
right? You have your whole album, 10 songs on there or whatever. You deliberately pick songs as your single, not because you go like, pick. You know that these songs have a little bit more of a chart friendly vibe that has more of a mass appeal, and that is exactly how I feel about this situation. You have to find a song for Eurovision that doesn't need to have a highlight. It doesn't have to be like fireworks. It doesn't have to, there are different things that make a song stand out, but you need to find that special magic. And this is usually what I refer to when I say this is not a song that probably would do well at Eurovision.
Yeah.
And it's not because, I don't like when people just say because it's too good for Eurovision. That always pisses me off the most when
Yeah.
people say that, because there are a lot of good songs out there
Mhm.
that I think are really, really good, but they may not work at Eurovision.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, if you have that attitude, I don't care. I still want it. Great. I'm all in favor of it. But you just need to go into this being fully aware of it. And that, I think, Roy, correct me if I'm wrong, often happens when you have a country that has won, since a little bit something a little bit less conventional.
Yeah,
Because they're kind of like, we're already in the finals anyway, so let's try something different.
yeah, and in that way, I don't know. They usually go back a bit and just be like, okay, we're just gonna send whatever, really. And it's also tough to judge right now because for all we know, we could have 40 ballots, and then Israel being the only up tempo song, for example, and that would totally stand out. It could actually win, or the other way around. We could have 40 up tempo songs. They choose a ballot, and that could stand out. So like, it's really tough to say in the beginning of a year if it will do well at Eurovision or not because you don't know anything at all, really. And
Yes.
different countries have different ways of going for Eurovision. Like San Marino would love to go to the semifinals, and that is already a massive achievement for them. Whereas Italy is definitely gunning for the win. So you're already also judging every single song on a different level. And since Israel won not too long ago, you're kind of judging them a bit more harshly, maybe because they did so well, and you kind of hope them and expect them to stay on that higher level. And maybe that's why we could be a bit harsher than for other countries, or I don't know. But saying that certain elements of the song are not as good as you expect doesn't mean that the song is bad or in general, or that people shouldn't listen to it because everybody's got different tastes, and yeah, it's just what people perceive from the song, and yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and that's is a good way to also jump into the next topic because after Israel, we also have France. France in the Eurovision Song Contest, a very interesting history, to say the least. As we all know, they just won a couple of weeks ago Junior Eurovision, and it has been announced that they're going to host it. What?
Yeah,
So super exciting, but we're not here to talk about Junior. But you can see they can do things right at the Junior version. Can they figure it out at the adult version? It's less than ideal situation with them as far as recent results are concerned. The best result in 10 plus years was a sixth place in 2016, right?
mm,
Um, so that is something, but as a country as big as France and important and the history at the contest, you would expect a few more ups than just downs there. And they're trying it again after last year's internal selection with Tom Leib's song, which was quite critically panned by a big chunk of people. Really low in the betting odds, really low in the fan favorites. Sure, some people liked it. There's no
definitely.
every song is liked by some people. But the reason I'm pointing it out because they went internal because for 2 years they had a national final called Destination Eurovision, and the songs were selected, and they just did okay at the contest, like between 13th and 17th place or something like that. So only like mid to mid lower table, which is still in some ways an improvement for them. But well, they had some they're not as bad as some of the other big fives, but they're certainly not quite as good as they could have been. So apparently the viewing figures were not that great as they wanted to be. The success hasn't been there as much as they would have wanted it to be. So they decided after the internal selection, they're going with the national final again with a name called C'est vous qui décidez. And as I said in my reaction video, it's not very catchy for us
No,
internationals as far as like pronouncing it, because Destination Eurovision, that's very easy.
such a
But here you
perfect
need to.
name.
I know, right? It was perfect. So, but of course, this is just irrelevant what they called it.
Mhm.
Just I'm being silly. But the point is, they put this thing together, that they're going with that national final, and it will take place in January of 2021.
That's
So we
soon.
don't have an exact date yet. What?
That's quite soon already.
Yeah, that's one of the earlier ones,
Mhm.
which is nice. Not all of them drop it like the last week. I like to have it spread out, so that's really cool. And apparently, though, I will say, from what I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, the competition will take place in January 21, produced in a provincial French city, and then will be hosted by the two hosts, and the show will be broadcast on France 2. So just to be clear on that. So This will be all a little different. It's going to be another new effort for them to figure out how to do well at Eurovision. Whether or not that's going to happen is a different story. But the broadcaster put forward 12 entries. They have been released, and they're available for your listening pleasure. I think it was just released a couple of days ago. And 12 songs are in the running. Keep in mind, they were recorded in a small studio, then performing them. It's pre-recorded, so it's not live. And it is still, according to a lot of people, somewhat of a demo version. So there could be a revamp for these songs to kind of make them sound a little bit more full, for the lack of a better word. There are 12 songs in the running, and not a lot of well-known names, which is great. Not bad or good, it's good to have people give a little bit more exposure. And these 12 songs have been released, and we just have to wait and see what's going to happen. And Roy, have you listened to the songs?
To quote Mila Moskov from Junior Eurovision, North Macedonia, 2019. Wait, what was I going to say? Basically, I didn't listen to it yet. No, I've got to, I want to film the reactions to them, and I've so far only filmed Albania and the Estonia ones. Another shameless plug: subscribe to my channel, Roy PM. Yes, but I'll listen to them in the very foreseeable future, and I'm very excited to check them out because I've seen one or two names that I already knew. I think Barbara Pravi, I think I knew, and there was another one, but I can't think on top of my head which one it was.
Yeah, Barbara Pravi. She wrote the Junior Eurovision winning song this year, or in 2020. So she certainly is more than just a singer. She is a very talented songwriter. Mm-hmm. And now I did already my reaction video, posted it yesterday, I believe, and listened to it, all 12 entries, and I ranked them from my least favorite to my favorite. And it is very difficult because it's your very first reaction, and I don't want to listen to them again, a second time before doing the video. It's really just like you put it out there, your first impression, and that can certainly change. Some of these songs already have moved a little bit. It's not going to be like it's 12th to first place kind of thing, but it's certainly, I'm like, oh, after a second listen, giving a little bit more attention, this song actually has a lot more to offer than I initially noticed, because you talk and you think and you're trying to oh, so much going on. But I do have some favorites, and Roy, if you want to plug your eyes and ears for a second, I will share with my favorites real quick here. As you know, the two songs that stood out to me the most, one of them is Andrei Madad, Alleluia. I hear the lyrics aren't a little cheesy, so but I think this is just a different song, and I enjoyed that one. But my clear number one, and after I did my recording and posted the video, I was finally able to look at the masses and what they like. Barbara Pravi, voila. She is the clear favorite, and was my favorite too. I didn't expect people to like this one. I always thought that people find French traditional ballads out of place in the year 2021, but I guess she just really managed to deliver the emotions and the excitement. It's not an exciting song, but she brings that feel to it, and it just has a very good melody. The emotions are there, and it's just a moment. I think this could be a moment at Eurovision. Again, depending on the competition that she's going to face. Everyone has a song like that, then she's screwed. But other than that, I think that this could be a really good option for that. So I am rooting for Barbara Pravi the most, voila, and I would love to hear from you as well. And Roy, put them back on.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said. No, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No clue.
So that is who my favorites were. Now, Roy, some people will say something in the chat, of course, but so you can look away from that as well if you need to.
Yeah.
Ignore the chat. So because he wants to react to them as well. Definitely. And make sure to check them out, and because I wanted to see if you agree or not.
I'll definitely.
And we leave it at that. And those are the biggest news of the week. And I will open it to the floor if anyone in the chat has any questions, anything to the stuff that we talked about, or anything else that would like to have answered at ESC United. Make sure to do that so we can see your questions. Pascal said, Roy PM should be your favorite YouTube channel besides ESC United.
Couldn't agree more.
I concur. I concur. It'll be. I'm so excited for you again that if it all works out in May for you to go,
yeah.
because it's. I've been doing it for so many years now. I should probably retire now. Not yet.
I don't think
Not
you
quite
should,
yet.
though. I think you let down a lot of people by doing that.
Honestly, it's also for selfish reasons because it is a lot of fun too.
Definitely.
You know, it's not just work. I mean, it's long hours and you don't sleep much, but you need to find a balance. I think 2016 was my worst year, where my best year was my worst year, and in that sense, I had so much fun that year. I slept like 3 hours a night, and just out at your club meeting the artists, the singers, the fans, and just so wonderful. And then 2 days until the end, I got so sick because I didn't give my body the rest, and it was the worst flight back home. I had a cold, and I was in the toilet throwing up the entire flight for like 11 hours. And I thought I'm gonna die. It was the worst I've ever felt in my entire life. And I regret it. Since then, I decided, okay, even if I just want to be out there partying, I have to force myself to sleep because I never, ever want to go for that again. And now I remember how much fun I had, but I'm like, I need to sleep as well. So at least 5 to 6 hours, like 6 hours I'm trying to get in every night. But
yeah, sleep is important.
Yes, for sure. Some other questions. What are your favorites from Albania and Estonia? So Estonia, we're going to hold off on that one for now, Evelina, because I haven't listened to them yet. Only because I'm waiting for the allocation of the semi, so I can do 2 videos, one for semi 1 and one for semi 2. So those I don't know, so I cannot share those with you. But I think both of us have listened to Albania, right?
Definitely.
So Roy, why don't you go first? What are your favorites in Albania?
Well, I watched your video about the top 10. Also, not all of my videos are out yet. You know, I still need to get around editing. It's kind of new still, and taking a bit long. But I watched your video, and my favorite wasn't even in your top 10.
I figured.
Yeah,
I figured.
No, at first listen, I really fell in love with 2.
Okay.
Like, it was just magical for me, and I know that it probably isn't a song that should win, and I kind of hope it doesn't win. I kind of hope it stays that pearl for me in the national final selection that I can just go back to and listen to and don't have to overplay, because I think the magic is really in that. Just so now and again have a few listens to the song, and I think the winner should be. Wait, I'm having a blank now.
You get all the suspense, and now you're letting us hang.
Yeah. Roy. Oh, what's that returning girl?
Eva Riki? Eva Rusi?
No. Whoa, why is this happening?
Geza Zaimi?
No. I think, wasn't it your winner as well? What was your winner?
No, I'm going to tell my winner. You said you didn't like my winner.
No, I didn't say that.
What did you say? Like, your number 1 is not even in my top 10? Isn't that what you just said?
Yeah. Yeah, my number 1 is not in your top 10.
I thought the other way around.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, look
your
up the list.
1 is, I think, my number 2.
Look up your list. And then come back to it, so I'll talk about mine then real quick, because I don't know.
Okay.
I had my number 1, and it is, once again, I didn't listen to the masses, because I always want to stay away from getting influenced by other people's opinions before listening to it, but mine, in this case, also agreed with the majority, I think. It's Ines Niziri. And
that's the one.
What, that's your favorite?
No, that's my second favorite.
Oh, that's your second favorite.
That's the one I hope that will win.
Yeah,
I think that's the best song for them.
I think it could get them really far, especially with a revamp, which it'll get. But I think the chorus is just very powerful. A lot of people compared it to Renegades from not 2 years ago, the Romanian national final. I can hear it as well. But it didn't come to me. I didn't think about it the first time I listened to it. It has a certain familiarity to it, but I think Ines's voice and just the whole package could just be really, really good. And I think it would be the best song. Some other songs that I put in there, of course, Eva Rusi's song is very popular, and I think that would be just a wild dances kind of moment, and I enjoyed very much. And the song that has been underappreciated, in my view, by most fans is Castro Ziso. I thought that song.
I couldn't agree more.
You do agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree. It's really fun, and at first listen, it wasn't an immediate click for me either. But I listened to it afterwards again, and I was like, okay, you know what? This is actually really fun. If it gets a bit more of a revamp, and
Yeah.
it could be cool.
Yeah, add more, the even bigger, more like sounds to it. It would be even better. But I think it's powerful, and I love me some
Yeah.
good rock, and
Hmm.
that certainly falls into that category. So those would be my top three as of right now. There are other good songs in it. It's a good lineup in my view. I usually have a soft spot for Albania anyway, and the fact that they're going first, of course, you get like even more excited. They get an extra push usually. Although they often do like last year, I really liked Albania's song initially, and then the revamp, I was totally not up for it. But how did you remember your favorite?
From last year, you
Yeah,
mean?
you couldn't figure out who's your favorite.
My favorite is still two from I don't know his name, but it
Oh,
is two.
Fatos Shabani.
Yes, exactly. So
Okay.
that's my favorite song. I just don't necessarily hope it's going to win. I think the winner should be Ines Naziri with
Yeah.
God.
I didn't hear when you said Fatos. It kind of went past me when you said that. Fatos to me, I did like group rankings. I think I put him like in second place in my perspective group, and he probably would be in my top 10 now because I flipped my ninth to 12th place, but always just like, and I
Mm,
think I put him like in 11th place or something like that because I think it's a really beautiful song. And then I just didn't, but I totally get it's a good song. So I
yeah,
totally get why you would like that. Anyway, that was a long answer for one question, but that's something definitely that was important.
yeah.
Um, ESV. Oh, there's by the way, there's one super chat from Daniel Eli. Thank you so much. Hi, you fools. Love from Romania. I'm sorry, it's not you fools. It's ya fools. That's how you say it. In case you don't know.
Yeah, nobody
People
could do
get.
it like that.
This is always a really weird thing, Roy. Not to hijack the conversation, but a lot of people love the hot fools, and then so many people get offended by like, "Don't call me a fool." I'm like, it's a lovingly like it's a nickname. I love people, so I'm a fool, so don't take it personally. I'm just being silly. Um, Question by ESVL97 Karines. Who do you want to see in Italian national final?
Oh,
Do you have like
that's tough.
what?
I don't know. I just really hope they go for. I really like out of all of the songs, entire Eurovision season, my favorite of them all was Eden by Rancor. His live wasn't the best, and the other one that was really good was Anastasio with Rosso di Rabbia, and his live was a lot better. So I hope he would come back with a better song that would be a bit more like Aiden's, or maybe produced by Dardust.
Yeah,
Weird name. Yeah, something like that would be really cool to have more of a hip hop song in there. I would love to see that. I don't think they would go for it necessarily, but I really hope they would.
that would be nice. I totally agree with you on that. I don't necessarily know a lot about Italian artists. I've watched
Hmm.
the Sanremo, but I don't remember them all, so it's very difficult for me to point one out that hasn't been to Eurovision before. So that is usually the pool of people I'm thinking about. We all know, sadly, that Diodato is not returning for Sanremo in
Yeah,
2021, and both Roy and I, we loved. It's like one of our favorites, right? It was.
it was my winner.
It was in my top two for sure.
Yeah.
Another one that we agreed on because
Oh,
it,
that's scary.
I know, right? Something went wrong there, but I guess it just says, how awesome that song is. It's just one of the most emotional
Yeah,
songs, and I think the whole COVID thing made it even better. And that's not better. That sounds horrible,
definitely.
but more emotional.
Whenever I saw those performances in the streets of, I don't remember what city it
Yeah,
was, but they sang the song in the streets, and that brought tears to my heart, tears to
kiss
my
your
heart.
heart.
Yeah,
You have a weird heart, Roy.
I definitely do. But you get what I mean. I love seeing that. But to be honest, I'm not sure if he could recapture the same emotions with another song. So maybe it is for the better that he's not returning. I don't know. It's tough to recapture the exact same emotions, and maybe
Exactly.
we would get disappointed. So we just have Fido Mora to just be like, oh, I love it so much. And yeah,
The song will
it's
always
sad.
exist. I always say, even though it didn't go to Eurovision, the song doesn't cease to exist because it didn't go to Eurovision. You'll always have it on your playlist. And yes, it would have been great to experience it on the big stage and more people get exposed to it. But the song in itself will always be good. So
Yeah.
that will not change. Okay, Ahmed K has a question for you, Roy. Roy, Do you think that Turkey will return to Eurovision? Greetings from Turkey. Do you think
Oof.
Turkey in any will return? Yes, no? If yes, when? Why? How?
Um, I think like they would want to, I think, but there's like a thing where they don't support all the values that Eurovision usually stands for, and that's like the big stop button for EBU to let them back in. I think that was happening. And so I'm not sure if it will be in the super near future, but maybe if you things change, if people get used to each other again, and I don't know, I would love to see them back because like they have some of my favorite entries of all time, and they produce some magic within Eurovision. I'd really hope to see them back, but I'm not sure if it will be in a soon future, like
Yeah.
maybe a bit further down the line.
Yeah, and this question comes up every now and then, actually, because we all want to know, and of course, the obvious answer is I don't know. We don't
Yeah.
know if it's going to happen, but I do think, and we're trying to stay away from politics as far as this is concerned, but it is reality. There has to be change in politicians in Turkey for, I think, the attitude to change, because the fans want to go back. It's just the people in charge have like now kind of like a less than ideal attitude towards the contest and the culture in general. So I think in order for Turkey to return, that is what needs to happen. A change at the top. Um, when or if that's going to happen remains to be seen. Is there a chance? Maybe, yeah, but I don't. If Turkey returns, it will be not in the near future, as you pointed out. I can see it a few years down the line. But if it were up to me, I mean, they always added just a different perspective, a different sound. There is
Mm.
a reason why they do well at the contest. Yes, you can make a case about the televote being unfairly advantaged. It gives a big advantage to Turkey. But even besides that, their songs just have a different feel. And
Yeah, they always send something unique.
yes, so from a diversity perspective, they need to return. At least that
Mhm.
is my opinion. Stephen Kendall is asking, will Morocco come back to ESC now that they're cool with Israel? Speaking of politics,
Ugh.
I it's there's a difference between what does it mean to be cool with Israel, right? From that perspective, I know that there is some could be, yes, but their laws would have to change as well, I believe, because I don't know. I'm not up to speed what the current laws are, but one of the reasons, for instance, why Lebanon couldn't take part in 2005 is because they weren't even allowed to stream anything from Israel, so they would have to black out
Mm.
the Israeli performance in 2005.
Yeah,
Therefore, the
right.
EBU said, "Screw you, that's not going to happen." Like, okay, we're out then, we can't, and that is why
Mm.
they've never returned. I could see similar rules in place for Morocco as well, so it's a little bit more complicated than just saying, okay, we're having these peace talks, which great, I'm all favor of it, of course, but I think
Yeah.
the issue of Eurovision is a little bit more complicated than that. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think a lot of these issues with every single situation of coming back is so much more complicated than you would just be like, yeah, we want to do it, or no, we don't want to do it. Whether it's politically or financially or how much like people get behind the contest in the country. Every single country has a different story why they haven't returned yet or haven't entered yet.
Yes.
And yeah, it's tough. I don't know the political situation in Morocco either. I don't know enough about it to really comment on it in a very good way, I guess. I'd love to see as many countries as possible, and I think they could really add a cool flavor to the contest as well. But yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
That is a tough question, and we shall see. But I think both of us agree we would love to have them in the contest. It just comes down
Mhm.
to all the things we just discussed. Evelina's asking, "Are you excited for oh God, Parandom
Papandom Ishnaujo.
Ishnau?" I feel like Lithuania did a really good job in 2020. Are you excited, Roy?
I named Pavandomic Naojo last year as the best national selection of the
Mm,
entire year. It was such a massive improvement from what they did the year before, and there were so many cool songs that could have gone to Eurovision, and it would have been so much better than what they sent or that they sent like the previous years and had in their national selection. So if they can keep up the same standard as that they had last year, I'm really excited for it. And I think the way they handled the group situation is the perfect way to do it. They said you can come back to the national selection, you'll have a spot in the grand final, and you can perform in every single semi-final with your song. So the band has a massive, massive like edge over the competition. But if there's still a better song, like they could be slacking and make a lot less good song this time.
Yeah.
And if there is such a better song in the selection, it could still win technically, but they just have the bigger edge. And I think they handled that perfectly. And I'm really excited for it, to be honest.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I only watched the finals, so I couldn't follow the whole process, unfortunately. And all I remember from the national final was the Roop. I'm like, everyone else, shush, quiet. Let them sing. That was just
Yeah,
the best Lithuanian entry ever to me, ever, ever,
yeah,
ever,
I
and
agree.
was definitely high up in my ranking. And it was devastated that it wouldn't go to Eurovision. And once again, difficult to recreate the magic. Blah blah blah. We get all of that, but it was an amazing song, and that's all I remember. So I can't really speak to the actual national final
Hmm.
system. But this year, I promise, I will watch every single show ever. And I usually watch like 80% of them, right? I didn't watch Lithuania all the way, and there was one other one I didn't quite watch, and I don't remember which one it was.
Or
Um,
like Croatia or something, or
oh,
Serbia.
I watched those. I didn't. It's not really a national final. It's San Remo. I only watched the final.
I mean, that's too long. They went 1.5 hours, I think, over the estimate ending time, and
Yes. I couldn't do it. I just can't do it. And I love long. I watch Albania from beginning to the end,
hmm.
and I used to watch Malta from the beginning to the end. And they have nothing to do on that island because they go over like 5 hours. It's just one of those things. But yeah, this year I will. I do. I swear. Um,
I'll keep you to
Okay, make
that.
sure, and if not, yell at me. Green
Yeah.
Oscar ESC is asking, who has more of a chance of being the next ESC country, USA or Kazakhstan? Kazakhstan.
Mm,
Roy,
yeah.
what does your gut feeling tell you? Will it be the
Easy answer,
US?
Kazakhstan.
No, not what you
No,
want, but
like
what you think will happen.
I also think Kazakhstan because US just isn't interested. I think EBU would be more interested in having USA than USA would actually be interested in having like being in a competition, and I don't think they would care enough for it. And Kazakhstan really wants to go. So if the EBU just needs to flick one switch and then they're there, they will make sure that they're there. And they've had three amazing results in Junior Eurovision as well. So EBU kind of should do it. I don't know. If with the US, I think that would take a bit more time, and with Kazakhstan, they would just need to flick a switch and say, okay, you know what? Let's give you guys a shot. Let's try it for once.
Yeah.
And yeah,
No, you said everything I wanted to say, damn it. So I have nothing to add. I agree with everything that you said. I will just add, I guess, that with the America Vision coming up, that'll come first anyway. With COVID, this may be delayed now anyway. So
yeah,
there could be a delay on top of it. So that was still Jan Ola Sant. So he's no longer in charge. But he said, we'll have to wait and see if America Vision is successful or not. I think if it flops, then they would potentially consider inviting the US. But as you pointed out, I don't think the US is that interested. It's more the EBU wanting to get
no,
that exposure.
yeah,
And I also think that the fans would go crazy if the US is being let in and Kazakhstan is going to sit on the sideline.
yeah,
So I do agree with your observation, everything you said. I think it's more likely for Kazakhstan to join the
yeah,
contest first, and rightfully so.
yeah, definitely. I mean, we
Yes.
know that they won't be there this year because the logo was announced, and they have like every single country on there, and Kazakhstan wasn't on there, so they
Yes.
kind of hints us that they won't be at the competition this year. But who knows about 2022?
Yes.
Wow, that's skipping ahead.
Yes. And then just one final comment. ESVL saying reason why I'm watching national selections cause of wacky and weird interval acts. Not
Ah,
only that, just the interval acts itself, but there are a lot of wacky and weird acts that would never win,
definitely.
but it is just so fun to watch. I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, there are clowns on stage, and why are they eating soup? It's just this randomness that, like, who put this together? And
Yeah.
it's like you kind of enjoy it for the weirdness that it is, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Last year, for example, Estonia, one of my favorite songs was from Vinerit. That song was complete whack and should have
Yeah.
never ever won, never ever gotten close to winning. But I loved them so much that they were in there for some comic delight. And there's another song this year that's kind of jokey, I guess. But yeah, you'll have to check it out
In
now.
Estonia? Okay,
Sure.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so
yeah.
hard. I'm almost regretting waiting to listen to this still because everyone's talking about
Mm,
stuff, and I was like, la la la, la, I don't want to look at it.
yeah.
But yes, I'm really excited about it. Um, so yeah, no, we need our crazy national finals, and I love national finals. It's not for the lack of not interest, but I do have a full time job and I am 9 hours behind in time, so it's not always
Mm.
the easiest thing to do here. But I am committed to it this year. I'm committed to it 100%. San Remo, bring it on. I'm so scared. Um, I'm really, really scared of that.
I'll watch it with you if we have to.
Because it's also on during the week, right? Isn't it like
Well, I think the first show is on Wednesday, and then they'll have like half of the songs, and then the second show is on Thursday, another half of the shows, and then there's a show on Friday where they do like duets on different songs,
mhm.
and then on Saturday I think is the grand final is the way they did it. Because I remember having like I had a handball game early in the morning on Sunday, and like the grand final ended at 2:30, and I barely had any sleep. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I will probably have to
so it is in the
record
week.
them and watch them afterwards because sometimes I cannot watch it until like 4 p.m. my time or 5 p.m., which is already 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. 2 a.m. in
Mm.
Europe. So I'm a little bit
Yeah,
behind.
and the songs won't be released before either. I think they will all be released on the first night and the second night. So
Yeah.
you'll have to react to like live performances.
Yes. Exactly. That's fine with me. So I can do that. So yeah. So that's all. But again, I'm committed. I'm committed because we missed out on so much Eurovision in 2020 that I
Yeah.
gotta have to make up for it now. I have to just soak it in. So the again, I do apologize for the sucky quality of this live stream, and no, it looks very cheap right now, but this was a last second, literally last second setup here on my part, and I'm glad it somewhat worked out. So that's what I'll be doing all week, figuring out the technology piece here, and
Mm.
hopefully it'll be a better experience next time around. I appreciate everyone's flexibility, not that you had a choice. Roy, any final words from you?
Um, Consider subscribing to my channel. No, it was lovely
Oh,
to
it's about you,
be.
Roy. I'm kidding. Go ahead, of course.
Yeah. No, it was lovely to be on the live stream again. It's been a while, I guess, and
It's been
it's
a minute.
always fun to do these and just talk a bit about Eurovision, the thing we love so dearly, and just have some fun with the people in the chat, answer some questions. It's always amazing, and yeah, I hope the camera issues and whatnot weren't too bad because we tried, we definitely tried, and we
Yes.
did test as well, and they were all fine, and then now it didn't work in the end, and it was weird, but we will. I mean, probably Matt will try to work it out, and
Oh yeah.
yeah,
That's all I can do.
I
And
hope everyone enjoyed.
yeah, and more content to come. And I don't know if I. Do you think actually, and just asking that we'll have the Eurovision in concerts or London Eurovision party? Is that even going to be an
Oh,
option at this point?
I don't think so. That would honestly surprise me if they would do that. Then the vaccine would need to be distributed so quickly and have its work so fast as well. And
Yeah.
I'm not having my hopes up at all for
No,
that.
me
But
neither. I
who
mean, it would be in
knows?
April, but it's
Yeah,
still
it's
even
it's still
less.
a long time away.
Yeah, it's still a month less than the contest or something like that. So they would have to do it even later than usual. So I was going to say, like, usually I would try to come to Europe for that. I've done it the last time and it was a hoot. But I don't want to even commit to that if we don't even know if we can go and if they will accept Americans in Europe because, we're.
Yeah.
We're currently banned. Well, technically, you guys are banned here as well. So I guess
Yeah.
we're
I
suffering the
mean,
same fate.
it's
Yeah. So anyway,